Good morning, friends. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today we're going to be doing some shoulder openers / chest openers. Sorry for my dogs. They're out in the yard, and I figured y'all would much rather see their cute faces than hear them bark. So, but yes, this morning we're just going to be working on our upper body and stretching it, and some of my favorite stretches to do when it's feeling tight, sticky, icky, and just needing some extra love. Again, my recommendations for holding positions is 1 minute to 2 minutes, but if you're like, this is too much, start with 30 seconds and build your way up. And just think about really taking those deep breaths and filling that area with all the love from your breath, so that way it gets the nice blood flow and all that good stuff. All right, so we're gonna start down on our mat. If sitting on your knees is not an option, you can do this up against the wall, but I'm just going to demonstrate it obviously like on the mat, but you're more than welcome to do it on the wall or up against your couch. It is a prayer arm stretch. So you're going to come down. You can do it in puppy pose, or you can do it in child's pose. I'll demonstrate child's pose first. So obviously child's pose is always a good stretch, but if you want to make it a little deeper, you can form prayer hands above your head, and hold this position. Thinking about pushing your armpits down towards the mat. It's a great little stretch. If you want it a little deeper, coming into puppy pose, so making sure those knees are under your hips, sending that booty up towards the sky. So obviously it's a little deeper, and again, forming that prayer hands over your head. You can tuck your toes or you can leave them flat, whatever is comfortable to you. But yeah, so a nice little stretch. You can obviously do that up against the wall. You can do it standing. So say there's a wall right here. You would make a 90-degree angle, and then you would have to step a little closer, because then you're gonna have to bring your elbows to it. But then you can pray again, or if it's just standing up against the wall and having your arms out like that is a good enough stretch, that's perfect too. So that's one of my favorites to start out with. Another one of my favorites that you can also do up against the wall, which is phenomenal, because obviously if your knees don't allow you to lay on the ground, or it's just not comfortable for you to get onto the ground, which is totally fine, you can do it on the wall. So I'm going to demonstrate on the ground first. You're going to come down to your mat, onto your belly, nice and comfortable. Oh, watch out, pups. You're going to bring your arms right next to your rib cage. All right, and then you're going to, actually, okay, I'm gonna go this way. You're gonna take that arm out. So directly from where your hand was at your rib cage, you're just gonna come out to a T. All right, so your shoulder is probably touching the ground right now, which is totally great. It probably feels nice. But I want you to think about activating those lats and that shoulder. So now it is put back in its socket where it should be, nice and pretty. And you're going to push yourself with that hand that's still on the mat, which is my left hand, and push yourself up onto your side. You're probably not going to be able to go very far, because you're going to feel your shoulder get a nice stretch. That's fine. You can put your foot up like a kickstand, or if you like to just leave it stacked on top of the other leg, that's fine. But again, just going to hold this stretch for a little bit. If you want to make it deeper, you can reach the arm that was on the mat up and take it back behind your hips if you need. Whatever feels best. Just make sure when you come out of it, you deconstruct it the way you got into it. Nice and slow. Bring that arm back in, and then obviously go to the other side. Same thing. You might notice one side's easier than the other. That's totally normal. But again, if you want to make it deeper, you can. Obviously, you do not have to. But yeah, so that's a really great shoulder pec stretch. And then you can do it on the wall. So you can stand up against the wall, take your hand, you can open up this way, or if you want to rotate and even touch the wall first, like have your chest up against the wall, and then just try to turn as much as you can with your shoulder touching the wall. You can, or a door frame obviously is really good to stretch all of that as well. Watch out, little miss. So that's one of my favorite shoulder stretches. Another great shoulder stretch is actually supine twist. So laying down on your back, it obviously, yes, stretches your back, but it also stretches the tops of your shoulders. So taking those arms out to a nice T, bringing those hips, or bringing those knees up over your hips, then dropping them to one side. Obviously, you're going to feel a nice stretch in your back, but I love it because I feel a nice stretch in my shoulder. So it is always one of my favorite things to do. You can even open and close to make it a little more deeper, so you can start laying all on one side, and you can draw a rainbow up in the sky is one way to really get into a deeper stretch. You can also turn your head towards following your hand, or you can draw the rainbow on the ground. This one's a little deeper and gets a little more intense, trying to keep that hand on the ground as it goes behind your head and around. But that is another good one. Obviously, make sure you do it on the same side, however you did it. On the other side, I like to start out with drawing my circles and then just holding the stretch for a good minute or two. So that's another good one. And then obviously always the classic ones, stretching out that tricep / backside of your shoulders over the head. Nice good stretch here. I also really like to do this one where you clasp your hands and you push back into it. And then I like to raise mine up and stretch overhead to open up my armpits a little more. So that's another good one, just stretching the backside of your shoulders and then opening up your chest. You can also do cat-cow, which is another great stretch for your upper body and your abdomen. So obviously, cow, really opening up those shoulders in the front, rolling through and pushing your shoulder blades up towards the ceiling. Those are always good stretches to do. Along with, I like to stand up, clasp your hands behind you if you're able to, and then pull those shoulders apart. And then if you want, you can always fold forward and let your arms go forward, getting a nice stretch. Obviously be very, very careful. You can hold a towel behind you. I'm going to actually demonstrate with my sweatshirt. But if you have a little hand towel, because you can't clasp your hands, that's fine. Trying to roll it up so y'all can see. There we go. Alright, so say you can't clasp your hands, you can do it with a towel. I'm going to do the same thing. Just a nice little stretch here to get that good stretch in that shoulder. But yeah, so those are some of my favorite stretches to do to open up my upper body. If you like these videos, make sure you like it and comment, and I will make some more going into more detail because obviously our shoulders are one of the hardest places to get blood flow. So when we're able to get into those deeper stretches and breathe and allow our body to actually send that blood to it, because we're focusing on it, your shoulders are going to feel 100 times better. Another great thing to do is giving yourself bear hugs. We lose mobility so quickly in our shoulders. So bear hugs are always good. Make sure you obviously do each arm on top. Arm circles are another great thing, going one direction, really trying to keep it all the way next to you, because you don't want to go out, because then you're just losing your range of motion. So you want to try to keep it as close to your ear as possible, going backwards and forward, and doing it on both sides. You can even do this up against the wall and do little arm circles, because like I said, this is one of the first places we lose mobility. So making sure you keep that range of motion nice and fluid. But yeah, thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you liked this video, and I'll see you in the next one.